Okay, let's quickly add some color to this thing. First thing, let's go ahead and go back to the other one who doesn't have the border and everything like that. We could just do it with this one with the border. Let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to save this. Save. Okay, close. And then we'll take this guy and make him our thing. It's cool because he's on a layer, so I can just go ahead and select that layer. And we're going to convert him, if he's not already, to RGB. And I don't really need him flattened at this point. And I'm going to add another layer. Put that layer in multiply mode. And I'm just going to fill it with color. And I have to think if we're going to go warm with this or cool with this. I think we'll go blue, so let's go warm with the background. All right. Pull up my swatches. All the swatches and the brushes and stuff for these and textures should be included on the CD. And if they're not, you can go to www.digitalarttutorials.com and ask for them if you don't see them for some reason. All right, so I just filled it all with a dark brown. Okay. And again, these are all quick sketch tricks we're doing here. Okay, you can always spend more time and go. I'm not matting anything. I'm not frisking anything. I'm just going to town. All right, so let's mess with him. I think he's. Well, we'll see if he really ends up being this color, but I'm thinking he's kind of this color. And he's got a suit on. He's not. He's an intelligent alien, sword-wielding guy. And what's great about dealing with things that already have some, I mean, even that alone, I think that looks kind of cool. But when you're dealing with these, you got to think about the different color that's coming off it. So our light source is going to be mostly from this lightsaber thingy. And I want it to be kind of a cyan-y. So I picked something that I have that's kind of cyan-y, but I'm going to amp up a little bit. I'm just doing a light wash. This version of the, you notice my airbrush is on 50% flow. It gives you a little more control. If you guys don't have tablets and you really want to do this for a living, get a tablet. I really know of almost none now. No guys that are doing this professionally that don't use a tablet. Okay, and I'm going to let some of that blue come in. You know, we did some of those highlights on the character before, the little rim light. And see now by me hitting that blue to it, what that does. Really gives us that, oh, you know, there's a blue light coming and hitting that guy. And again, this is all just, I mean, it's super easy. If you just look at the color by itself, I mean, there's not a lot there, but it has such a great effect because we have that base again of that shaded artwork. And again, the idea of, you know, tips and tricks for doing, you know, speed at the moment. Okay, so he's going to have some reflections in his eyes, so these ones are going to be reflecting the lightsaber. The other ones are going to be more the true color of his eyes, which I'm going to make kind of orange to yellow. So he's going to be orange, and then same brush, I'm just changing the size. Make sure you don't go to the cool yellows, which are going towards the greeny. I want to keep it more of a lemony. I just want to go full on bright right there. Remember, he's got some teeth going on down here. Teeth really are not pure white. They're a little more of an off-white. So remember that when you're dealing with them. And let's see. Also, he has some markings up here, so I'm going to go ahead and play with some color to back up those markings. Let me give it a little bit of a saturated red behind there. Okay. Now, if your lip from, you know, warm or cool, that's how it's going to determine your shadow condition. So, or if there's ambient light going on, like if, let's say there was a, I don't know, pool of lava or even just reflected light down here, he'd get some of that more of that blue kicked up again on his underside. If it was just a shadow condition, the cool color here in the light would make it appear uh, to be a warmer shadow condition. So you could even use something that's kind of like not so not so saturated though. You have to remember shadows are in the dark, and the more things are dark, the less saturated the colors are. I'm trying to see a lot of colors at night. Um, so I'm going to pull in some warms in here on this side of him. Just a little bit. Like that. Okay, and then the costume. I'm going to give him, let's see if I kind of a cool color. I'll drop the saturation on it. Again, normally I'll have that swatch palette you just saw. I'm just going lightly over here because I want to keep some of that undercolor desaturated color because I don't want it to be like a bright poppy superhero outfit he's got on. I mean, it's kind of a tech outfit, but then I'll make the colors here. So there's a different color on the forearm part. And these are, I kind of like the way this kind of come out sort of an off color. Alright, I'm going to make the lightsaber a little bit brighter now. I'm just increasing the size of it. Now if you want to add some more color, I'm going to add another layer to this. I'm going to put an overlay mode. I'm going to give us a nice saturated blue. I'm just going to do a big airbrush wash over that and see how like just, you know, and I'm going to let it kind of go over a little bit because I mean the thing would cast some color all over the place. And let that wash over it. And again, I'm letting him kind of, you know, fade off here. I mean, you could go in, and I'm going back to that multiply layer, and I'm actually just going to do one quickie selection here. If I wanted to, like, you know, really give him some sort of something to separate him on this other side. Yeah, I didn't mean for that to come out. Thank you. See, everybody makes mistakes. Hits the wrong key. Alright, so we need to, let's see. Okay, so I don't want it to be, see, it could be, if it was going to be more, I mean, that almost works. Let's see how it looks when it goes red. You know what, I think we'll go back to that blue. That blue was actually kind of nice. And it just helps separate him a little more. I just got kind of the shape from that, and I'm going to go back in and use the airbrush and kind of hitting the underside of this big area of hair he's got coming out of his stuff. And I'm just kind of softening it all up here where he's getting hit a little bit. Now since the arm is coming out, this would get hit by that same. You have to be consistent. If you start doing this, you started doing it, and you gotta continue. You can't just, oh, I'm gonna hit the side of the face with color, unless you like make it some sort of spotlight sitting the side of his face. Okay, so really quickly, you could say, okay, I'm done here practically. What I would probably do is, again, we're staying far out, so if you want to go in and do some more tightening and such on this, I would add another layer, and I've gone back to my, actually I'm going to go, let me show you one other thing. Let's see. I have a pastel brush. This is a little texture brush. This can look kind of nice on these guys, so I'm going to pick that highlight, go a little higher. And see how it just adds a little bit of a roughness there. And you can play with the size of the texture, make that more or less, or the size of the brush. I'll include all my brushes on the tutorial for you. See, I think this is a little bit of something. But anyway, I'm going to go back to the, so you get distracted, you see things, and you, oh, that's kind of cool. So you play. I encourage you to play. That's what this is about. Okay. With the Capcom brush, I want a little bit more of a, being able to pull some edges here, because I'm really about now doing some detail. I'm really just going to detail up the face, but you'll see what I'm doing. I'm going into the higher, it's a little more bright, saturated color, and accenting some of this detail, like these frown line shapes. A little bit here. Here I'm doing this kind of frowns. He's bringing out those frown lines on his nose. Really just drawn with it. Again, since we're going kind of a comp thing, I'm really just... And sometimes you get really nice, see it by going really bright right next to that shadow condition, how I really highlighted that shape, and even the same thing over the lips. I'm going to grab some of this blue, and because those shapes became a little haphazard there, so I'm going to fix some of these and add some other bits. See how I get these flyaways now. He's got some hairs coming off his ears too. I'll just kind of fix where everything's coming from. A little bit of that blue would come back in there under the nose, I think. Under the chin a little bit more. Maybe even hit that tooth. Maybe a little tiny bit here, just a little bit. You can even, I'm just going loosely with this circle. And see how that gives a little bit of more of that reflection on the eye. I don't really like it. I like the darks in his eyes better. But, you know, again, all these different things are there for you to play with. Let's see how this really starts coming together. Now, if I wanted to go, if I really wanted to make this more of a darkening up the nose area, because I wanted to give him like a little nose, little shape thing. If I really wanted to take this even further, what I would do probably next would be to flatten it and start going in with the smudge tool. And I'll show you 2 secs of that so you know where I would be going with it and what I'd be doing. Let me save this as it is. And this should be quick paint. Paint part 3. Yep. Okay, I'm going to flatten it. And then going in with the smudge tool, not the blur tool, the smudge tool. It's a hard round smudge tool. I'm just going in, and then I could really kind of get rid of the, again, it's really all apples and oranges. I think some of this texture is coming out really nice. I'd probably want to lose some of it. Some of it I'd want to keep. See how by just rubbing over it, you can really start making the whole thing kind of come out like a painting. You can even, decide purposely to sort of lose some edges here. Keep some edges, lose some edges. That sort of bit. You figure if I came down here to the arm, I would start bringing it down. I'm just doing back and forth. It's a hard edge airbrush. But see how it gives you that nice, especially right here, I was getting some of that nice little oil treatment to it. These nice little thick strokes. By being deliberate, not by sitting there with a light hand doing this and not going in and going light like that. Even that's kind of doing a nice little effect, but it's bold is what we're after. We're after bold, after just doing it. You can always save a version and revert to it if you want. Don't be afraid. Nothing good comes of fear. Except a good adrenaline rush. No, I'm just kidding. So anyway, you can see that's kind of, let's, if I call up the other one, open recent. Oh, I think that's that one. File open. Going back from that to even prior to that is where we started. And ending up with that is kind of cool. Especially if we're, I think, probably less than a half hour's worth of work or so. Anyway, so there you go. Definitely could go much further with it, but again, the idea is to just do some quick comps, ideas, and get stuff flowing. All right, to get stuff flowing. Sorry, I'm not going to stop. See, this is going to be like a movie that doesn't end. Another really good, again, this is partially about techniques. A really great technique, like let's say he's on this in this tech outfit. Adding some color to these things is really easy, even after you've done these base colors. I'm just going to select, and then he's got a stripe coming down here. Okay, I just made a selection on him, really easy. And then I'm going to hide those ants. And then I'm going to go to hue and saturation. And voila, we start getting a different color. Sometimes it's easier if you just do colorize, because then you can really change the color without messing with, or you can really change the color. Get more saturation. If we want to, you can make it darker. Let's see now, it's like, it adds another level, and I probably would go ahead with paint and do a little bit of an outline on one side or the other. Let's see how we still keep all that rendering we had below it, and it just adds another level of detail to it. Okay. Now, really, I'm stopped. I'm done, okay?